Why Canada wants trouble in India? Are we to believe that this is being done without the approval of the United States? And if the answer is yes to both the questions, why India is now the new target of the West? Welcome to the new edition of Wiseheads. I am your host, Ashish Shukla. A killing in Canada has blown into a storm. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau pointed fingers at India in his parliament. He also expelled a senior Indian diplomat. India's response was swift and several degrees stronger. It too expelled a Canadian diplomat in India. It also termed Canada as a safe haven of terrorists. The visa services are paused too. First, about the killings. There is no way of knowing if India did it, but truth to tell, assassinations happen all the time. Countries do it when they need to. Google assassinations by the United States and you would see a long list. Canada could have easily put this killing on extremists and the Indo-Canadian relations would have remained normal. But Trudeau went for the exact opposite. He wanted to escalate it. Why? It's wrong to presume that Trudeau rigged up the matter because it concerned human rights. That is, it concerned a citizen of Canada. If that is the case, what Canada has done to the man who has threatened millions of Canadian Hindus' lives? Are Canadian Hindus not a matter of human rights? Are they not citizens of Canada? It's also wrong to presume that Sikhs are so powerful in Canada that Trudeau needs their support all the time. Look at the numbers. Canada has a population of 3 crores and 70 lakhs. Out of this, 16 lakhs are Indian Canadian citizens. The proportion of Sikhs is 7.7 lakhs. It means there are more Canadian Hindus than Canadian Sikhs. So there is more to it than what meets eye. Well, first let us get it very clear. When it concerns geopolitical matters, especially with a country like India, which is so pivotal to the West, everything is well calibrated. The 5 Western countries are the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, and New Zealand. They are called the Anglo-Saxon bloc or the Five Eyes nation. The Western bloc sees the biggest threat to their dominance of last 500 years in Russia and China. They want to use India against China as an important piece in their Indo-Pacific strategy. That's why they look the other way when India resists their pressure on Russia, when India promises Africa and delivers them to the G20 seat. Yet they know that Modi's India is difficult to control. They have been very unhappy that in the G20 summit declaration, Russia was not criticized. They are also extremely annoyed that the Ukraine matter came up in the declaration only as the 87th point. So despite the bonhomie in front of cameras, the West has been trying to fix India. More than India, they want to fix Modi, who doesn't bow to their command. The West always prefers foreign governments which do as they order them to do so. They might have caused a Holocaust in Japan, but today they have a government in Japan which would only do what Washington wants them to do. They might have killed tens of thousands of Vietnamese in the 1970s, but today Vietnam does what Washington asks them to do. Look at Pakistan. Till yesterday, Imran Khan was breathing fire against the United States and Pakistan Army. He was removed on drummed up charges and now Pakistan has a new government which does what Washington asks them to do. So much so that Pakistan supplies arms to Ukraine, which wants to destroy Russia. That is the blood brother of Chinese. The same Chinese who have invested billions and billions of dollars in Pakistan and in China-Pakistan economic corridor. So Pakistan is taking money from China yet trying to hurt China in Ukraine because its elites are controlled by the Washington. The truth is the deep states of all countries are controlled by the United States. These deep states in any country are that country's media, politicians, judiciary or army. They also plant subversives who are your NGOs and human rights groups. So if a country doesn't do what Washington wants them to do, they activate these deep states. They try to replace nationalist governments and bring in power those who listen and do what they are told. The West uses its money and arms to keep this deep state in control. They create anarchy and trouble in a country. Sometimes it is a demand for secession, like we have in Khalistan now, and Jammu and Kashmir earlier in India. So this noise in Canada is actually meant to bring Khalistan matter into center of Indian politics. The idea is to make the issue so big that Modi faces trouble before the 2024 general polls. For if Modi wins another elections, India would be all the more difficult to control by the US-led West. Next 5 years are critical for West survival. If in these 5 years Russia and China are not destroyed, the West would lose its hold of last 500 years over the world. That's why an insignificant killing has been turned into a geopolitical storm by Canada. It's a well thought out strategy and we would see it worsen in coming days. Notice that the call is made not as much to Khalistan or for Khalistan as against Hindus. So it is Sikhs versus the Hindus now. The trouble could start in Western countries like US, UK or Canada and Australia, or it might blow up in Punjab. The Modi haters would hope that killings and images of burning buildings and arson would shift the wind against the Indian Prime Minister. That so much would be the noise that Modi from a popular leader would be seen as an ineffectual leader. If Modi chooses to crack the whip, it would be seen as a tyrant. He would be seen as a tyrant who is running a democratic India. My opinion is that Khalistan issue would dominate headlines in coming months. That's all in today's edition of Wiseheads. Hope you liked it. If you did, please like and subscribe the channel. We would once again meet on a new burning geopolitical issue. Till then, it's your host Ashish Shukla now taking your leave. Goodbye and best of luck.